All right, we are working on an older style PDL drive for Old Town pedal kayak. This is the older style, as you can see here, 2018. But this part up here is pretty much the same. And I'm going to be replacing this crank arm because this crank arm pedal de-threaded. It's just lost its threads, and now you can see that should not slide in and out of that hole. And that's the pedal axle that goes on the original pedals. This crank arm's got to be replaced. We got to pull it off. And I've learned something since I've done this. This is about 6.5 inches, which is close to about 170 millimeters, and that's what they do bike parts in. This is a 170 millimeter bike crank, but you'll notice it's a little longer. And that's because they measure from the center of hole to center of hole, not the full product. So center of hole to center of hole, another option is 152 millimeters, and that's what this guy is. This is 170, so it's, a decade more of millimeters here, 10 plus more millimeters. It's a little longer, got plenty of clearance. I don't think it'll mess up my seat or anything like that. What's going to mess up for me is I keep a bait bucket right here, a little plastic bait bucket right beside my seat, and I have a feeling this pedal is going to just hit it because it was just enough clearance before. I wanted to change that up a little bit. But other than that, I think we're good. It's going to give me a little more torque. Hopefully that the prop can handle that. And I don't think it's going to give me a knee to seat clearance issue but we're going to find out. All right, so what we're going to do is put in this gear puller. This is called a tapered square. And so you got a straight square, not a diamond. A diamond is turned in a diamond shape in the hole. This is a square, both on a taper. It's an older style bike crank design. And you put one of these screws in. You screw this into these threads that are right here. And we'll get that tight. And then we'll take this other one, and it screws until it pops it up, pulls it out of the thing. And we'll do that on both sides. All right. I'm not sure what the millimeter size is, but 5/8 is what turns that. You put it in by hand until you stop, and then you just give it a firmness. You just give it a bit of a quarter turn or something. Otherwise, they say that you can rip the threads out of this, and then you have a real problem getting this thing off. So I have done that, and now we should be able to just turn this thing and have it pop it off. Now we're dealing with the left side, so parts of this you have reverse threading. You have to think about that, but this piece is just like the other one. And so it's a bit of a, it's a fight. It's going to be on there hard. So in videos I watched, people had to give it a little bit of a pull. And we are now, looks like, free. There you go. I got to put a little grease on it and such, but to put this back on, obviously you want to make sure you're 180 on these. So it'd be this direction for this setup right now. And then you put a little bit of grease on this piece, and then you put the screw in, and that screw will crank it down and get it tight on the taper again. So went ahead and did it. I have to do it two-handed with this old tube. So went ahead and got my pedal axle greased for this one, and I've got grease on there. And I put some in the screw. I mean, they just have these little lock nut blues on them, and implies that it doesn't want grease on it. But I'm putting this thing out in the ocean. We're in the bay a lot, Chesapeake Bay, and dealing with brack and salt water. And this thing takes the big hex. What is it called, a 1/8? I can't remember what that hex is, but for now I'm just going to give it a wee bit of tightening. Might do a little YouTubing, make sure how many turns to make on that, but it's probably good. I think there was something about 4-pound torque on that. I mean, it's in there. Not too worried about that. So now, I don't know if you haven't taken these pedals off, the OEM pedal has this little Allen wrench screw in the end of here, and that holds the pedal on the axle, which is kind of a unique setup. It's not really what most bikes do. Now this is the left side of my pedal drive. Left side is reverse threading, so you're going to go righty loosey, lefty tighty. I ruined a bike once, not knowing that as a high schooler. I just stripped the crap out of a axle. Because I had a little bit of a turn. Stop about right there. And we're going to do the other side. I gotta put some grease around this too. I get a clicky noise sometimes when it gets too dry, and a squeak. I don't want that. So we're going to put that on. If you don't take this pedal off, it's really tight down here. This gets a little tight. So with the pedal off, you just get better clearance for your open end to get in there and pull around, tighten it. All right, I've got some grease on this guy. I'm going to try to put it in there and do it one-handed and see if this works. If it doesn't, you just have to believe me. I missed, but I think I got it. Yeah, that worked. So now, okay, take that out and give it another crank. Now, one thing I'm taking care of, I'm retrofitting to what I already had set up on this, because in conjunction to where the prop is, I don't know if it matters, but I wouldn't want to like set this guy up to go this way with the prop in that position, because this is the way it was designed and this is the way it came to me. I'm assuming that these haven't been changed out, so I'm going just back the way I had it, way it came to me. Okay, many people told me to get a helicoil, which is a helicoil, which is just a tap, a threaded tap you hammer into that. A kit for that to start off was like $50. You had some, and there was different sizes, and I don't know exactly the size of this, so it was like hunting and pecking, a lot of research. Or you can go to a bike shop, and every bike shop can do this. And if this was my, my $3,000 fully articulated mountain bike, I probably would go get a helicoil put into this instead of buying the really hot, nice arm cranks I have on it, right? But this is not that. So, and I didn't want to pay $50 for a helicoil when I could buy these guys for $20. And I also was interested to try this, learn a little bit, and share with all you guys. So we're going to just do this all again. We got to take this screw out now. On this side, the right side, everything's back to it's back to our normal world. So I need to hold on to this thing a little bit. There we go. Get our screw loose. I'm going to go ahead and get the pedal off. It is, it's got some torque on it, and I right now have some help with that, having it on this structure. So we'll get the pedal off. This pedal's not stripped. Luckily, the axles on the pedal aren't stripped. They're fine. They ruined the aluminum instead. This one, both sides are fine. So if I ever do go back to the Old Town OEM, I can always just buy the left side, which was $40. And those, by the way, I said $20, but they were $20 for two. These are $40 for one. So it was $80 for a new set. That was the actual price difference. Not hating on our OEM. Great company, great product. I have a bunch of Old Town kayaks. But, they can't be super primo at everything, and they're not a bike company, so why not try some other things? 5/8. It's a little gappy. There's something a little smaller that would fit it better, but this works. It's pretty easy to get off. Now let's pull that out. There you go. We got our axle off. And now we just got to get that screw out, that Allen wrench hex nut, and put the puller on there and pull this off the tapered square. Be back at you. All right, so this thing was so stuck on there, I had to make a helper, take apart my Allen wrench and make this big old torque bar on there, which I'm going to have to hammer back off, I think. But hey, I got it done, man. That's all I had. Something else going on? Hopefully not. Hopefully the rest of this thing comes off. Alright, everything looks normal. That looks pretty normal. Alright, that one was just a little stickier, so I cleaned out the threads and it was still a little sticky, but got it on there with minor effort. And now we're going to be turning this guy down till we get to the push point and push past it. Let's see if I can do it without not losing the camera view. It's saying no. It's saying I won't. I have to hold it. Alright, I got past the big push. And we are done. It's off. Everything looks okay. Just a little dry and dusty. We're going to work on that. Nothing told me to do this, but I'm going to go back and check these big hex nuts. I'm going to use it, maybe give it 5 minutes of use. And then go back and see if these things loosen up at all. And have my wrench there ready to tighten everything up, because it's got to get pushed back down on that taper, so I don't know if it takes anything. And by the way, I did check, lined up 180 on the second arm here, making sure I got a full pedal stroke, if you will. All right, we're back to regular threading. Got some grease on the pedal, stem, axle, whatever it's called. Pedal stem sounds like what they'd call it. All right, we're going to tighten that down. Can't do it with you watching. Again, I put some grease on the stem, put the pedal back on. Oh, that sounds really nice. I did notice that this Allen nut is missing its washer, but unfortunately for me, I have all my stainless steel washers at the river. So instead of putting something on there that might have a metal reaction to this, I'm just going to remember to deal with it when I get down there. So let's see how that goes. Obviously, it's been missing it for a while, so I think that's probably a better state than putting something that's going to rust in. Look at my screw. Okay, we're going in for the hole again. So we get it. We got it. Look at that. Surprisingly easy for what it is. And again, this is normal threaded on the right side, so just go back to what your mind knows. When it gets tight, I've been going 1/4 to 1/2 on that torque. And I've taken these off a few times, so I've not had problems with that. That gives you an idea. All right, I'm going to set the phone down and show you it working. All right, here we go. All right, here it is. It's almost impossible. But everything's nice and tight. Pedals are working great. And we'll see how it runs. But it's working.